Have you noticed that your anxiety has seemed to be through the roof? And also, have you noticed that simultaneously you're dealing with inner ear disorders? Well, there's no secret there. There is a fervent connection when it comes to dealing with inner ear disorders and having this anxiety rule our life. Now, all of us have had anxiety one way or another, and we've had stress. It's just a part of being human. But there's a different type of anxiety when it comes to dealing with inner ear disorders. Those disorders particularly involve eustachian tube dysfunction and symptoms of tinnitus. And some of you are dealing with that, and you're kind of struggling to understand how that even connects with this anxiety. How is this even happening? I've had colds before, and I'm not even as stressed as I am now. Well, there's no secret here. The connection between the inner ear, the vestibular system that you make up, the whole entire makeup of the vestibular system is sending constant communication from that system to our ears, our brain, and our body. Now, when those communicational signals get thrown off, that could be due to an infection, that could be due to inflammation, that could be due to an injury, that could be, some of you have stated very graciously, I don't have ear problems, but I just had a cold. That could throw it off too. No one knows that why sometimes you get a cold and it affects these things, and sometimes you get a cold and nothing else happens afterwards. And I was one of those unlucky people that didn't have any of that happen, and all of a sudden I started having these inner ear problems and inner ear disorders. And I want all of you to know that the more challenging part of this condition is what comes after you've gotten over some of those physical symptoms. Let me further explain. So I'm just going to give you the scenario of having a cold. So you had a cold, you feel all clogged up, you feel all stuffy in there, and you go to tie your shoe, you feel that pressure shift, and you're like, okay, I obviously have some kind of cold going on. All right, so you spend 3 to 5 days draining and taking medicine and tea, drinking tea, and you're doing whatever you can to get rid of some of those symptoms. Unless, in fact, you do. Well, after the fact, if you're struggling with this particular form of the inner ear disorders, now you're dealing with the after effects of the anxiety. And it starts affecting the communication standpoint with those ears and the signal that's being sent from those ears to the brain. Now you're starting to engulf this anxiety. You're starting to almost alter yourself as a human being. This is what freaks everybody out. This is what trips everybody out. Because now they're like, okay, this is not your normal form of anxiety where I'm fully aware of the anxiety I'm facing. And we all know we've all had stress. We all know that there's some kind of stress. You're dealing with it. For example, boarding a plane, you feel anxiety, you feel stress. You know why. Taking an exam, for you students out there, you feel a little anxiety, you feel a little stress. You know why. But you're not changing as an individual. Your whole humanly standpoint has not been altered. This condition will start to make you feel like you're someone else. This sounds extreme, but for those of you that are longtime sufferers, you know what I mean. It almost makes you think you were a person that loves nature. You love to be in the mountains. You love to explore high altitudes. You love to explore nature and get into very deep parts of the mountain life. And all of a sudden now this condition will make you change that perception of who you were before and make you irritable in those environments, make you feel worried and nervous. You can be a person that's an extrovert. You love crowds. You love to talk to people. You love to interact. You love to get in these deep crowds and see what's going on. And now you're not. Now you're trying to stay back. You're looking around to see where the nearest restroom is, the exit is. You're changing. You're changing who you were. This is what this condition does. This is why I spend time on it. This is not just taking something and getting over it. You have to rewire your brain essentially to get through this condition fully. Because now you've passed through the physical, implications of this condition. You've passed through all of that. The nuances of dealing with the clogged ears and the problems with balance and all those types of conditions that alter your physical reality. Now you're dealing on the mental side of things. This is where it gets complicated. This is where the doctors are not going to say they don't understand, but they're not understanding what you particularly are trying to convey to them. Because when you go and you try to explain to them what you're dealing with, you're explaining them in a way where they're diagnosing you immediately as an allergy problem. Allergy, this is allergy, we got to go the allergy route. So you begin an allergy regimen, allergy reducing regimen, where now you're taking medication to remedy some of those problems. It's almost like you have to really compile a descriptive and very specific level of communication to explain exactly what's going on, because if you do not, they're going to jump in and they're going to self-guide you in a way where they're going to give you things to do it yourself, but you're not going to be doing it in a way where it's going to be beneficial for what you're dealing with. And this is why I try to do the SOS alarm when I make my videos here. I try to let everyone know that, because it's going to take a lot of participation between yourself and your brain and your mind, your body, and your soul are going to have to participate in unison. And the problem that makes this condition hard to heal from is not only are you going to have to develop this new regimen, you're going to have to continuously rewire your brain. It suffered a major setback, and now you're in physical therapy, essentially trying to get over it. And this is why I may sound like very out there when I'm explaining this to you, but this video is to all of you out there that are in that phase now. You've conformed from the first phase, and now you're in this phase now, and you're like, okay, everything I tried is still not working. It's not always that it's not working. It's that it requires a high level of consistency that unfortunately doesn't feed back to you of how relevant it actually is and how prevalent it is to you and how substantially gratifying it's going to be once you reach that point of return. You don't see that. It doesn't give you immediate responses back to position you in a very confident standpoint where you feel like, okay, now I can keep going. You're going to get isolated gratification or non-existent gratification that's going to ultimately make you feel like you are not making progress at all. And this is why I stress to make these videos as much as possible, because you need this constant engagement to continuously push forward, because it's going to be very cricket-like during this journey of rewiring the brain to position yourself back to the way you were, to restore yourself back to system default, to how you positioned yourself prior to having this extra high level of anxiety that you never contained before. So this whole reality of thinking that it's just an ear problem, it's just an ear problem, it's deeper than that. And it requires a broader approach in order to unravel all the damage that's been done. And it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of perseveration to get through all of these things. And so you're going to have to withstand this quiet storm of uneasiness until you get through it, because it's a long road, and more so, you don't have a lot of people to go down this road with. And so I highly recommend, if you're new to my channel and you're just discovering this video as channel or video one on my channel, please look down into the description. There will be a Jaye Studio group for you all to join, so you're not feeling like you're driving down that road by yourself, because you do need the reassurance from others. You need that constant stimulation in order to keep the brain focused enough to understand that there is a deeper goal, which is getting back to the way you were and not struggling in silence. I hope this video was very helpful for you. If it was, please take time to subscribe to the channel. I try to bring content as often as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to step out of the Jaye Studio and leave you in good hands with this video. Like anything else, folks, we're here to simply go back to the basics. Take care, everybody, and I will catch you in the next video.